entirely drawn upon about 10 years of emails from Terry that I went through over the years. But I'm going to start with one that is the longest of vignettes, which will take about 2.5 minutes. The others are about a minute long. And I know that you all love Terry's holiday letters and probably read every word of them. And I don't know how many people spent their holidays going through all of them on the website. But I thought I would just pick the top 10 things, and you probably could have done 10 top 10 lists from Terry's holiday letters from various years. I like a big bowl to eat cereal, and I often have to improvise. Currently, I am using a metal dog dish. Jesus taught us to die to the world. Here is how I apply that to my life. I don't care if Britney Spears is wearing underwear while she lets her kids drive. Worst case scenario future headlines, and you'll see that Terry's pretty good at predicting in the next one. Pope Gingrich sets divorce limit at 3. And there's a lot of repeats for people in Terry's letters over the years. President Brittany, more questions than answers. In 2008, Terry saw what was coming in a Trump-driven 2016 election campaign when he wrote, "There may be people who do not accept the underlying scientific principles of evolution and natural selection as the explanation for the current earthly population of living things, but it is hard to deny that some things are either destined not to survive or are already extinct, including Bush family political possibilities." There you go. Another theme is about to come up. Literally soon. In 2011, I had my worst year health-wise since I lost nearly 10 pounds, 10% of my weight, with diarrhea and vomiting in 8th grade. I was never taken to the doctor. Terry, as you know, likes to keep track of things. So in the category of streaks, rosary just passed the 5-year mark for praying it daily. I have not vomited since approximately March of 1993, 18.5 years. I think that was 1983. 2011, Terry wrote, "I'm used to functioning at a level just below a superhero." In 2007, and this seems to be linked to that statement, "While there may be 3 billion women in the world, I have come to the conclusion that there is not one that would make my life any better than it is now." "I'm the humblest man in the world." He put that in quotes and then said, "I might have actually said that once or twice." And in 2015, if you haven't read the most recent letter, "I vomited for the first time in 22.5 years after the surgery. I can stand nearly everything but general anesthesia, it turns out." And I was somehow connected to them, and he sent them to me. One was a pretty innocuous little anxiety dream about a race that he does in New Milford, Connecticut every once in a while, where you were concerned about your inability to get your shoes on, and you couldn't find the clip, or the chip for the shoes. But the two that I picked are the following, to read exactly as Terry sent them to me. "Greg, I had a very funny long dream last night in which you introduced me to Steve Martin, and he and I hit it off famously and wandered all over making fun of things and making each other laugh. It seemed as if my dream wrote all the material as well. It wasn't just mumbled things or montages, although now I can't remember much. I believe I woke up laughing." In 2007, Terry had the following dream, which he introduced by saying, this is going to be a hard one to get through. "I haven't been sleeping particularly well here." I'm not quite sure where you were in 2007, Terry. "And last night finally had a good night. But that usually means a lot of dreams for me, and one was a classic." Here's the dream. "The entire O'Rourke family went to Hawaii for a reunion. While we were there, a reunion for all Danville High School graduates was held there as well, with many activities. For instance, I entered the decathlon, and Leroy Tanner, of all people, was running the field events, most memorably the discus. Do you remember this?
I don't remember it at all.
Oh, wait till we get to the rest.
Oh, boy, this is
The best part was at the end of the day, the O'Rourkes were standing around talking when Greg and David came rushing over, all excited, to tell us about something they'd seen. This is verbatim. Greg, there was a bus there was a bus loaded with children that Suzanne Farr was getting on to take them somewhere.
I am taking up every email he ever sends me.
When all of a sudden, a big turd fell from out of her skirt. And rolled out the door of the bus. David and I saw a stream of urine too. Terry said, "I am sorry, but I had to wake up after that to laugh." So the story effectively ends there.
Thank God.
I couldn't let these be Terry's last words. So Terry, as you know, in his emails, has lots of very good advice and lots of good reflections. So I'm just going to read two things, which I thought were very appropriate for tonight before we get on to our final act. When Terry was turning 50, he shared a lot of reflections, and one of them was the following: "My greatest joy in life is what I refer to, perhaps incorrectly, as, quote, transcendent moments. These are hard to describe in general, but the effect is everything coming together perfectly to sometimes stunning effect. These can't be forced. You have to let them happen, and they occur more the less selfish you are." And some advice, I think, which is appropriate for the holidays, and I think appropriate for here as well. "I've grown up in a relatively large family, traveled a lot, and spent a lot of time with people and observing their behavior. Almost everyone I've met is a decent person, but I cannot tell you how many times I have cringed witnessing arguments and discussions. The world would be a much better place if everyone could restrain themselves from saying that last hurtful thing, that unnecessary sentence or phrase meant to inflict a parting injury. Whatever you may gain is not worth it. Take the high road." There we go. So Terry's not the only person who has to share an embarrassing moment up here. I found a 2010 email that Terry sent to me. The subject line was death. "Greg, I wanted to let you know Paulina Jeffries just died.
Oh gosh.
She was 84. Unless she has information related to the incident in her personal papers, her death likely puts to rest any trouble you may yet have with the infamous putter into the green incident on hole number 11. Perhaps you will sleep better tonight knowing this. I will pass on your condolences at the funeral, but in a very discreet way so as not to raise any further speculation."